Meet little Melvin. He's a 90-pound weakling. Everyone hated Melvin.
Yeah, I'm gonna take this mop and shove it down your throat.
They teased him.
I'm gonna do it with you. Okay.
They taunted him. They tormented him until he had a horrifying accident and fell into a vat of nuclear waste. Transforming little Melvin into a hideously deformed creature of superhuman size and strength. Melvin became the Toxic Avenger. The first superhero born out of nuclear waste. Yes, the muggers and the rapists didn't know what law and order was until the Toxic Avenger came to town.
Holy shit!
I don't know what it was, but it saved my life.
All right, everybody, drop your tacos or I'll blow your brains out.
The vandals and the perverts had their way with the little people of Tromaville until the Toxic Avenger ripped them apart. The Toxic Avenger. His face is so terrifying. We can't show it to you now. You'll have to see the movie for yourself. The Toxic Avenger can bend steel with his bare hands.
Oh, we're on a kid. Get it?
Leap small cars in a single bound. He crushes drug pushers. Smashes hit-and-run drivers. And gives all criminals their just desserts. The Toxic Avenger.
He was a hero.
He's a hero. He's a fighter. He's a lover.
Well, Melvin, you're beautiful.
The good citizens love him. The fat and corrupt hate him.
Kill that bastard. You gotta kill him.
Yeah.
Will he survive? For incredible, explosive action, you must see the Toxic Avenger. He's a different kind of hero. The Toxic Avenger is coming to your town. Look out.
Come with us now, if you dare, down a rickety staircase into a dank, dark basement. What awaits? The Saturday Night Freak Show.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the late night edition of the Saturday Night Freak Show podcast.
Wake up.
As always, I'm Colin. I'm your host. I'm surrounded by the internet radio superstars,
Travis,
Brent, Gary.
And tonight we watch Travis's movie pick,
the immortal classic, The Toxic Avenger.
From
there should have been an echo there.
Oh,
echo.
Avenger,
there will
Avenger.
be. The Toxic Avenger.
Made in the year
of our Lord, 1984
AD,
I believe.
And directed by
Lloyd Kaufman.
No.
Michael Hertz?
Yeah, and some other dude. I didn't catch his name. There's two directors at the end of it, yeah.
Was there?
Michael Hertz,
I know it was
like Sam something.
I know it was written by, oh my god, what was the guy's name? Like Joe. Joe something.
Yeah.
It's based on a story by Lloyd Kaufman.
Alright, so give me the hit. Lloyd Kaufman is the head of Troma Pictures. Give me a brief history of Troma.
It's hard to actually find I mean, my years of watching Troma, I mean, I guess I haven't really tried so hard, but they're one of those companies that keep themselves kind of aloof. Like, we just tried to watch the intro to this, and all it is them hawking their shit and goofing around. It's like, and that's almost what they always are. So it's like, I don't fucking... As far as I figured out is Lloyd Kaufman is a Harvard graduate. That, I mean, I guess with his probably, I can only imagine a business degree, because he knows all about distribution. Set up Troma like 40 years ago now. You know, it's mainly a distribution for other people's movies, but they started off with the first few of their own with Toxic Avenger, Class of Nukem High, Sergeant Kabuki Man, I want to say Troma War.
Well, if you're saying 40 years ago, so then they actually started in, what, 74?
Yeah, because they started almost every, like, there's so many major stars that you can't, I mean, it's not like they've been in Troma movies, but like Kevin Costner's first movie was distributed by Troma, and, you know,
so they were a distribution place and then got into
I'm sure
making their own.
Yeah, I'm sure either once they made up enough money, they started making their own. I mean, they've always been on the cheap. You know, anybody that knows Troma knows that. They've always been on the super cheap. But a lot of people, like, in Class of Nukem High has one of the special effects dude that worked on Willow, I want to say. So you find a lot of people, you know, that started, I mean, hell, the guy that fucking directed Guardians of the Galaxy wrote Romeo and Juliet, you know. Yeah. I'm pretty sure, I don't know if he directed Romeo and Juliet and wrote it, but James Gunn, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of people get their start at Troma because it's like anybody can work for Troma as long as they're willing to work for free, you know. But it's like, hey, you know, if that's how you...
Well, anybody can work for Troma because, I mean, by far and large, their catalog seems to... They don't seem to have like a bar on what like the quality level of their output is. Like, they will put out some awful
they put out Tales from the Crapper. That is a real movie from them.
Shit, yeah. Terror Firmer.
Yeah.
I mean, they know, but they know their audience, right? They know their audience is like, dude, they only expect this level of fucking bullshit, so they only put out that much, right?
Well, that's how I look at Troma. I see them as two guys that love making crappy movies and just have a blast doing it. That's how I've always seen them.
And it's about, I mean, it's all exploitation, you know, fucking sexy women doing drugs, you know, like almost all of them. But, I mean, the reason the Toxic Avenger is fucking just special to my heart is because, well, number one, I saw it when I was probably like, oh shit, I don't even know, like 9 years old, 8 or 9, you know, on like probably WGN or some shit, you know, just, and, I mean, to me, it's like a superhero / Friday 13th film. You know, you got your kind of your fucking like prom night opening where all the kids make fun of him till he like kills himself or whatever. You know, like jumps out the window into the toxic waste. Then kind of comes back and like chases his people down and kind of like that fucking POV vision or whatever. So this is why this movie always struck me as like, oh my god, it's the best of both worlds. It's fucking Superman and Friday the 13th rolled into one, you know?
Well, and I was talking to these guys earlier and I said, you know, it seemed to be that theme went through a lot of the 80s movies, that the bullied kid gets back, you know, whether it was 3 O'Clock High, My Bodyguard, there was always something where Carrie. Carrie. Christine, all of them. I mean, they all had that kind of, you know, feel to them that you got to come back against the bullies.
Yeah, just like
except for Toxy, it actually, well, I don't know how well it worked out, but he did, you know, he came back through chemicals, not supernatural means, so he survived. So that helped out, I guess.
Yeah. Which also is why I like this movie, is just because this is another time where you know, a filmmaker was able to at least put something of a social commentary behind a stupid movie. You know, the whole toxic waste dump bullshit. And, you know, I mean, they don't, like, ram it down your throat, but there's funny little things.
They pretty much do. I mean, it's set in Tromaville, which is the U.S.'s, like, toxic waste dumping city or whatever.
I figure it's cynical, we call it New Jersey. I would say ramming it down your throat would just be like, you know, characters actually like, thank God, there's no more, you know. But they're more, I figure they're just more cynical again, you know, home of the toxic, you know, dump of the capital of America. And when, I love it when Mayor Belgoody or whatever his name is, when they decide, oh, we can move the toxic dump over here. And he's like, here's to better living through chemistry, you know. It's just kind of given that, I would say that's like punk, right? That's like a punk version of making your point. You're being fucking satirical with it, being tongue-in-cheek, but you're still making your point, you know? So
that the politicians will sell you out, and as long as they get their money, they don't care if they move the toxic waste dump 20 feet from the city's water reserve. So
Yeah, and so the idea of this movie is that Mayor Belgoody runs his whole like criminal organization from the health spa in Tromaville, and
which is where Melvin works, the little
Melvin Ferd
mop boy.
Melvin Ferd. Would you look at that fucking guy? I like that first
stressing me.
But that's why I swear to God, man, when I was little, I mean, not I remember a few horror movies like kind of like making me sad because horror movies always try to at least kind of look at like the victimized person before he becomes the killer or whatever. But when I fucking saw this as a kid, and you see how like all those people just fucking like laugh him out of a window, man, that like devastated me as a fucking kid. I was just like, these fucks, man, oh my God, dude. And then when they go downstairs, he's like burning, and they're just like, he's faking it, Julie. Oh, he's fake, it's like, Jesus, they're still willing to laugh in his face. Yeah. When he's just in pain, dude. I thought that was like, oh man.
Well, like you pointed out too, it wasn't an accident. He didn't trip and fall. He jumped. He was going to kill himself because they made him feel that way. They persecuted him. And then, like you said, they run downstairs. He's coming out, and everybody's still laughing at him. I mean, it's like everybody's coming around to see this all going on, and no one's helping the kid. They're all just standing around mocking him.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's really sad.
Well, I mean, the whole movie, like all the characters seem to share this like an extremely cynical viewpoint on life. I mean, like everybody except maybe Melvin and his eventual girlfriend. Like everybody else is like extremely mean-spirited. I mean, they even the guys who are Melvin's chief tormentors, borrow a page from Death Race 2000. They're actually running people over for points. Getting drunk, driving around, and
racist, whatever.
Yeah, hit and run killers,
running over kids. I mean, there's also like the gore factor in this. I think also added to the exploitation. I mean, because they've got plenty of boobs, just general silliness, and then like extreme gore. Is it extreme? I don't know.
I would say it's extreme
for that time. Yeah,
I mean, anytime you kill a dog.
And show it laying there.
Show it. Yeah.
Just like I love it when Toxy elbows that dude in the nose. I mean I'm like, oh my God, that looks sick even today. Jesus.
Yeah.
Broke that guy's nose.
You're saying they kill a dog. I mean, there was a lot of like questionable like moments in this movie where it seemed like the filmmakers were like crossing a line of good taste. At one point, these guys come into a diner and are terrorizing the customers there, and they have a shotgun. At some point, like there's a shot where like they've got this shotgun in this baby's face.
Yeah.
I mean, they shoot this dog, and then I mean, and so the dog's all covered with goop. And it seemed like there were a couple other moments where I'm like, wow, that's like that's, I mean, to do that kind of stuff, you've kind of like crossed like a line of taste, It's
just even running down the child on the bike and then running over his head and just showing it, where other movies might cut away or not even go that far.
Well, I don't know when they actually released the full uncut version. We saw the full uncut version. I don't even think they released that full uncut version probably until like the 90s or something like that. So that was edited down, the head, when they back up and go over the kid's head.
Right.
Well, I'm sure too some of the lines too, like in the, I don't know, was the restaurant scene, was that intact?
Yeah.
In the uncut
version?
Yeah,
that was pretty intact.
So, yeah. I mean, we're talking about a group that doesn't mind, one sexually assaulting a blind girl in front of everyone in the
that
restaurant.
Was a joke.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a fucking joke. I never, I always did want to cornhole me a blind bitch. I mean, it was a joke. I mean, that's the whole ideal, right? Yeah. The idea that, they're going to be the extreme. This is like the extreme movie.
Yeah, but that's what, with Troma, there is no bar. It's right on the ground. They don't care.
But
they'll
I have always
if it's fun and they think it's funny, they'll throw it in there.
Yeah. I mean, this is what I've always at least referred to it as, like, this is what I call splatter punk, It's this, like, weird idea of, like, I mean, it's not like this movie says, like, these are the people of the future, nothing like that, but if you look at movies like Class of 1984, 87? 84. Class of 84, Class of 1999, shit like the Mad Max movies, shit like Class of Nukem High and this, whereas like the punks or the bad guys are just so fucking devoid of any empathy whatsoever. If anything, they downright like enjoy like pretty much what the hell they do, you know?
Yeah.
And I saw, it's all about putting makeup on the face. Oh, I like that. What the hell is with that? It's like,
From the Warriors.
Right. Yeah, it's something.
You know when the first time I ever saw that and I fell in love with it? Dragnet. Episode of the old Dragnet. There was a kid that sold LSD in a two-parter they called Blue Boy, painted half his face blue and half his face gold. And so then when I saw it continued on, like in this at the restaurant, there's the guy with the half black and half he's got the, you know, I'm always just like, oh shit, man, those are real bad guys paint their shit up, because it's like, that's just like, this is the future, man. Put on your fucking crazy war makeup.
And it's assumed anyways to me that they're always on some sort of goofballs, right? I mean, they're all hopped up on something. Definitely.
Yeah, you can imagine, right?
Yeah.
You gotta be, you know.
except for the women in this film who specifically the one in the sauna who gets off by looking at pictures of the victims of their hit and runs.
And I know it was before it, but that reminded me of Crash. When I saw her doing that, I'm like, that reminds me of Crash a lot.
Definitely, yeah. But she seems, I don't know if she was buying drugs in the locker room, but she seems of like reasonably sound mind while she's, you know, doing this.
Well, but I love that actress. I don't know who the fuck she is. I'd say her name, but
yeah,
I can't remember. Think of the girl's name.
Well, is it Julie is the blonde?
Julie's the blonde.
Julie looks like one of Manson's girls. I mean, through the whole thing, those buggy eyes.
She's got the huge bug eyes.
Yeah.
Definitely hired for her
other talents.
Yeah, all the women were like, I mean, model-esque, you know, physiques.
Pretty, yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought
it must be like Playboy Playmates or something.
But I thought that brunette, I thought she was a pretty good actress. You know, I thought because I mean, her bad guy, you know, persona, I thought was really awesome, because it's like, here's a movie where they're totally going to exploit these girls, but the girls, in a way, are more psychotic than the dudes, you know? Because, like, when she's, when her and Slug are in the female locker room having sex, and Melvin stumbles upon him, and he's like, "Get out of here, Melvin!" And she's like, "Yeah, or I'll kill you." You know, she's got that real fucking, like, she'd be into it, you know?
When she pulls the switchblade with the little pink string on it.
Dude, I love that. I was like, so I think it's cool that, like, even though they're, you know, obviously exploiting, like, the women's, like, you know, showing their breasts and blah, 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 I think it's still cool that they make them just as fucking really bad and evil, like, just as fucking sadistic, you know?
They're not along for the ride. They are, like, their own instigators. And, you know, they enjoy it themselves.
Yeah.
And the fact that in 84, I mean, shooting it all in a fitness center, like, I don't think that we have the hindsight now, like the 80s being a big fitness thing, right? And aerobics. But at the time, I don't think, I mean, it must have just been popular, but it's funny when you go back and look at it, because, like, these people almost live at this fitness center, right?
Dude,
the health
Dave,
club,
man, Schwarzenegger made his fucking life at one of those places. I mean, those are the days, man. Gold's Gym.
Right.
Well, I like the way that Travis said that she was a pretty good actress, because, I mean, like, in this movie, that bar is, like, also set, like, an inch or so off the floor.
If you can complete your line, you are considered a good actor in this film.
Because, again, Troma doesn't care if you can act or not, as long as you can complete the line.
Well, people cut their teeth on this shit. They cut their teeth. So I like the
And
guy
they
that played
never did
Bozo.
anything else outside
He's
of-
stressing me, Julie. He is stressing me. Then when Toxy, like, does her in and she doesn't show up at the car, he's like, I need to drive. And he's like, just chill out. And he's sitting there with that weird blank, and he's just like, I need to drive.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they see the old lady, he's able to, like, I don't know, I love that guy. Especially if you see him in Nukem High, you can see how he turns the character around, you know? It's like, that's why it's like, you know, you can see their little, like, you know.
Well, I think it was you, Colin, that brought up the racism issue. I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but he's got his red laces. And in the skinheads, that means you stomp somebody down. You spilled blood, and then you get your red laces. Because with the skinheads, or the punk movement, you're not allowed to wear red laces unless you spilled blood. So
yeah, I didn't see that.
I watch way too many documentaries
I
about
was gonna
gangs.
say, you seem very intimate with them.
But I like how, like, these villains, I mean, and I think the reason I'm sure, the 80s was a big thing of help, but I think the idea is that these characters, because, okay, here's the idea, right? Here's the idea. Melvin the fucking Mop Boy is skinny, nerdy, looks like a dork, blah, 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 blah. Everything in the health club, it's all about how you look. It's all about
body conscious.
And that's really the only thing these people care about.
That's why he's the outsider, because he's got big buck teeth and he's a scrawny little 90-pound weakling.
And like Bozo and Slug, all they're ever talking about is like how much fat they have on them, or how much all they're concerned about is their own body image. You know, even the girl when she's in the sauna, you know, she's looking at her own muscles. You know, these people are just so subconscious about or self-conscious about their body image. And then, of course, when Melvin becomes Toxic Avenger and he's the ugly, you know. He's still this ugly Avenger, you know, going against these beautiful people, quote unquote, you know.
Yeah, the only person that can love him is a blind chick.
Well, yeah, and then that's the whole, she found his true inner beauty because she couldn't see the outside. So, you know, and then even once she did kind of feel what he was like.
I think that's kind of cool, right? Because it's like Swamp Thing. Fuck, that lady was fucking a vegetable. At least Sarah has an excuse. She was blind for the first little bit of their dating. She didn't know he was the monster hero. But I gotta say, like, I think her blind acting, I thought was awesome. I just think she's awesome. She was like never where her eyes. Focus. She just...
I gotta disagree on this.
Oh, stretch, dude.
No way.
I thought everybody in this movie across the board was awful, but her blind acting was like on a par with...
I thought it was good.
I even mentioned while watching the film that like she was distracting in the background because of... Like, she made it such a point not to focus on anything that you would just see her head going back and forth.
Yeah.
But don't you think that's what a blind person... No. I mean, yeah, fuck yeah, dude. Because all you're doing is, like, listening to sounds and shit like that. I even like how she would make a purpose of turning her head one way while looking the other way. You know, just... Well, I really like that. Because how many times in movies do you really see blind people... looking around? Not a lot, dude. Most people always go for the fucking shades, or they go for just the cataract guy. Or you don't see this in movies where a woman is doing her whole blind fucking thing.
Trying to oversell it.
This guy's picking.
I think the whole film it's cartoon acting. It's there's no.
That's for damn sure.
There's no cap on it.
This is cartoon acting. This is. I mean, come on, dude. When they were like going through the dead people. In the taco, all the police guys are eating their taco
and making their little quips about what they were.
I got a crispy taco with everything on it over here. I got a pizza with like.
But that's what allows them to get away with the violent stuff too. You know, I mean, you can point a gun at a baby or shoot a dog if like the you're in this world. You're dealing with a film where like none of this is reality. You know, like it's
still like
it's like a 5-year-old, you know, that'll like say anything or do anything, you know, based like if they hear a swear word, they'll just keep doing it because it gets a reaction. It's like this film is trying to get a reaction and they don't know the line. It's I think it's enthusiastic.
That's also true. Enthusiastically desperate.
Enthusiastically desperate.
Yeah, to just go barreling across the line of good taste. But, I mean, because it's like, you know, if we're saying pointing a gun at a baby, I mean, you know, when you're doing that, the kid's terrified. He doesn't know that, you know, he's in a movie. And I'm sure they're like, okay, we're just going to, you know, and then you're pointing the 12 gauge at him and yelling at this kid. I mean,
hopefully it's not his first memory.
Well, right, and even if you could say about the kid especially, you know, they don't know what the gun is. They're too young to know what that is. Okay, but they know what this half face painted freak screaming in his that had to be a little traumatic. I'll give you that on that.
No, I don't know if he was actually there in that shot because it's just the point of view.
No, he's right there. There's a shot of the kid here and the gun's like right there.
Yeah, but not the guy.
No, the guy's not there.
So I mean,
crying.
The kid's I'm sure the kid hates being on the set.
I'm actually surprised how much that like you guys think that's like crossing a line. Like I don't know, that doesn't seem that, especially in today's. I mean, it just doesn't seem that crazy.
No. What I'm saying is that's what they don't care about. They don't care if they cross that line. They didn't. You know, Troma never did. That was the whole thing.
No, I get that. Yeah. I get that they didn't care. But it's like, you know, I guess I'm going over Brent's point that like, you know, the tone of it because it's goofy allows for that, you know, in that world. But it's like. Some of those things are still like it still feels extremely exploitive and like we're just, you know, trying to be, you know, like look at how extreme we are and like what's the point? The point is just to show how extreme you are, you know.
A friend of mine a long time ago called it, and this was his term of endearment for it. He called it trash cinema, is what he called it.
Yeah.
But he loved it. He loved Troma, but that's what he called it. He goes, "It's my trash cinema."
Yeah.
And that's
fun.
yeah.
It's just fun.
I think that's the intent. I don't even think they're not trying to be.
Yeah, I don't even think they're trying to be as extreme as you get. Like, we need to cross this line. I don't even think they're thinking that far. They're just like, it's gonna go crazy.
That's why they were trying to like have the gore be as extreme as have the characters like devoid of any kind of like morality, I guess, or moral compass. I mean, they were all just like these awful.
Well, they were the
awful
bad
people.
guys.
Well,
though.
yeah. But it was like the entire citizenry almost of.
No, because we had
except for like the
cop.
Yeah, the
we
cop.
had the kid that
and
worked
the
at
two
the
other
taco, whatever.
Right, but those are the only people.
But then we had Toxy.
What about Sarah's boyfriend or husband that died? That guy was an upstanding citizen. He was willing to put himself and let himself.
No, that was another person. That wasn't Sarah's.
He was with the girl in the red dress.
Yeah, you think she'd only talk about her dead dog when her husband.
Well, that's what I thought was weird. But we were watching Toxic Avenger, so I just kind of
Did anyone else see that shot where he got hit in the chest? Did it look like you could see through him? It almost did to me. I didn't. I don't know if anyone else noticed it.
But there was definitely skin, like it was a skin piece.
That looked awesome. Yeah, some of the squibs in this.
Awesome.
Yeah, they looked good. I don't know about the color if it was right. It's like kind of like a more like maroonish.
Well, the one thing I will give, and I've seen in almost every one of their films, is there's always that one cross-dresser that you just know is not passable, and it's in every one of them. A lot of cross-dressing in the Troma.
Man, I think these guys were ahead of their time because look who just won that. Damn it, what's that big European music festival that Celine Dion was actually discovered at? Damn it, they have it every...
Oh, that one.
The European one?
Yeah, it's a European music festival. But the person that just won it this year is a transvestite that dresses like a woman but with a full beard. It's just like, holy shit. Wow. So, okay.
Well, that's like Eddie Izzard. I know some people that are into English humor. So I told him, check out Eddie Izzard. Yeah. And that was the one thing. As soon as he came on, he's dressed in women's clothes, I shut it off. I'm like, really?
But
you missed genius comedy because you couldn't get past that in this day and age.
Right.
But,
Yeah. That's a shame. That's sad.
Well, I mean, I just took that as that, in that era, I think, if you lived in New York City, I think you saw, like, so much of that stuff going on that, that was every day,
it seems ahead of its time with that.
Yeah, but that was New York back in the day.
Yeah.
That's just, now more commonplace nationwide, worldwide.
But that's even freakier. That, like, raises the stakes, though, when, like, a bunch of bad guys are going to try to, like, try to convince you to, like, go along by giving you money, and then not only are they going to beat you up, but one guy is going to make love to you. It's like, oh, shit. Like, this is just a whole nother, like, dimension of terror now. Like,
right.
Wait a second.
If we can't take your honor, we'll take your manhood.
you know? It's just like, wait a second.
Well, and you hit on the point, too. A lot of those kids in that movie seem like the kids of today. And I'm not talking about good kids. I'm talking about the messed up ones that are doing some of the stuff.
Other people's misery gives them pleasure. You know?
I mean, we live in an age now where you flip on... on Facebook, that you got the thing of the girl with the bucket of puppies throwing them into the river so they can drown. Somebody standing there filming it, laughing. So
right. Yeah, it's like that's like I know these guys went extreme, but like
Well, I recognize that's kind of like in this movie that is like their point of social satire. They're taking this bad behavior and magnifying it, so it's like almost an entire town full of these awful people, and then you have the Toxic Avenger there to mop up, literally.
Mop up, stick the mop down their throats.
Yeah, it's like in the worst cesspool of the United States again.
In New Jersey.
Yeah, but it's
I got to tell you though,
Tromaville, the toxic waste dumping capital of the
which explains Snooki.
I expected more mop. I really did.
What are you talking about? He popped everybody in the head after he killed him. He mopped.
I wouldn't say everybody. I didn't see a lot of mop, like not in the cartoon.
I mean, they set it up. They at least set it up with his first 4 or 5 kills that he puts the mop in their throat, down their throat. then because they also set up the idea that the Tromatons force him to destroy evil, but then they're like, well, the jails are filling up. It's like, well, I thought he kills everybody. How are the jails filling
I
up?
thought that was odd at some point because they show some guy doing like a like a nefarious, underhanded drug deal or whatever, and in the next scene, this character who the Toxic Avenger has never seen before, he shows up and kills this guy, and I'm like, wait, what happened? I'm like, oh, that's right, because in the scene before they explain the science of the Toxic Avenger that he has to.
It's like the spider sense.
Yeah.
It's like spider sense. It's like evil's nearby. I must kill it.
Evil doer.
It's almost as just like with the German scientists, and every scientist has that German accent, and then the cops are always Nazis. So,
That was funny. I love the Nazi cop where he's like, Mein Führer or Mein Mayor.
You just saw Dr. Strangelove. They totally did that.
For sure. The whole, having the forces hand
there's a lot of things in that movie they ripped off from other movies.
So I was watching, I'm like, they totally saw this movie. Oh, they totally saw Dr. Strangelove.
How does it end? It ends with Toxy going, Sarah!
Mm-hmm.
Well, Lloyd Kaufman worked on Rocky. Yeah. It's like, that's just kind of like Rocky. Yeah.
So the Toxic Avenger is this, for those of you who haven't seen this, is this gigantic hulking brute with, I don't know if you'd say toxic burns all over his body. His face is melted. His eyes are out of position. He's wearing a tutu.
Yeah.
And he carries a mop.
Which is awesome.
And he growls like the Incredible Hulk.
I love
and
that.
Seriously, that's what I thought they were going for. Like, from other people.
They probably were. Who knows, right?
But the thing that I did actually like about that, for its ridiculousness, was when, because he's just smashing everything, Hulk smashing everything, and then, he kills all these people who are attacking this cop, and then he walks up to the cop, and then this voice comes out of nowhere, and you're like, what in the hell? He's
it's like 50 soap opera voice.
Yeah, it's like, hello, sir. I'm sorry. I overreacted. I've never done this before. It literally sounds something like that.
I love it.
Figuratively.
And it seems like a 50s Superman, too,
It is.
They dub over his voice, basically.
Hey, no.
And does it change from, when you see him talk and when it's, a voiceover and an obvious dub? It seems like there's...
it's all dubbed.
Yeah.
Whoever... It was just some
voice of the Toxic Avenger.
Because there was whoever played. You said Mark Togel played Melvin.
Melvin, yeah.
And
then
it was
Mitchell. Somebody played the Toxic.
Yeah, someone played. And then another guy did the voice.
Yeah.
Because that's why guys get big. Because it probably sounds like, yeah, all right, let's do this Toxic Avenger movie. What do you want me? I just finished pumping some iron, so I'm really pumped.
Yeah. There's a couple good gags in it, like after he pummels that guy in the balls, and then he runs away, and he's like, I'm gonna get you, Toxy.
You monster faggot. I love Cigar Face. I don't know why. That character to me is really fun. He's just got this cigar. It's like, now you're gonna find out why they call me Cigar Face, and he's gonna burn the cop with the cigar. I just love that guy. I don't know why.
It's great. Sweaty. Everybody else in this movie. They're all very sweaty.
Which I think adds to it.
Must have filmed it in the middle of summer in New Jersey.
I like when all those villains, all those just generic villains crowd around him, and there's the black pimp dude, there's kind of the punk with just a revolver, there's the twitching fucking lip Italian mobster.
Well, and that's where they messed up, because the guy that was that I talked, the one that's from class of 1999, I don't remember the actor's name, he's actually back in that scene. He got killed in the Mexican restaurant. He's the one that he made the sundae out of his head.
Oh, I'm sure they're just
they just threw him in and well, he doesn't have makeup on. Nobody will notice that.
I didn't notice that. Because, all he do is show him for a second, he goes, wah! Or something.
Well, it's that face, every time I see it.
I think it's... I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to say that's based on the class of 1999, right? So he must have had a pretty impactful
there's that,
role.
And he also... Have you ever seen Death Warrant with Jean-Claude Van Damme? He plays the Sandman, and he's got that same... He's just that killer. And he's got it down.
To his face. He is one of the best villains in the whole movie, because I love his whole little look, Frank, TD Boppers. Right. Do you like video games, TD Boppers?
Oh, yeah, I've seen that guy in other stuff, X-Files episodes or something. I can't pin him down, but a significant amount of...
Usually a bad guy.
Yeah, he's always a bad guy.
I like how, I don't know how I feel about it, but it's one of those things where it's like they hide Toxy's face through, the first half. It's like he's walking around.
Even though he's clearly exposed on the poster of the movie. So going into it, when you're standing in line at the theater, when you're renting your video.
Was that originally, though?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's
There's always that shot of him. With
just that painting. Which the painting looks way cooler.
Yeah, but in the movie, you wait like 45
you wait a little bit
before you actually see his face.
A little longer.
And he's always doing really awkwardly walking backwards into to avoid showing his him in his full glory.
Yes, you see more of his boots than you do anything else in the beginning.
Yeah,
when he's walking around in the shots.
Yeah. Which, I can understand. At least they didn't wait till the end of the movie like a lot of movies do,
for
right?
The big
reveal the monster.
Yeah.
And then they waited to have that gag for when Slug, the character, dresses like the Elephant Man and goes down to the sauna. And I like when Toxy does it, and then all of a sudden the fucking water is just all it's got that nice dry ice looking fog around it. Just him stepping in the rooms made the pool start to boil.
Oh yeah,
that's the type of sign up.
People with inflamed eyes and
leaking ears.
Sores. Yeah. That's what I like about this movie, because that's what this movie does to me. My imagination fills in all these gaps where, it doesn't show the fucking pool water boil, but as soon as he's there, you're like, oh shit, he's so toxy. Fucking,
Which gets me, I know when he first, and I understood when he first came out of the toxic sludge after going out the window, the cop's hands caught on fire. Mm-hmm. But later on, he's picking up children, and they're fine.
Right, yeah.
He's touching certain people, and they're okay.
He's having sex with Sarah.
Yeah, she doesn't, but like you said, but he walks in the room and the pool boils.
Well,
so.
I think this is my own excuse for this.
This should be good. All right, here we go.
The only reason they have is because the toxic waste was still absorbing into his cells. So that's why when the dude first touched him, his hands lit on fire.
Well, and then I understood
he went
because
totally
he was still
on
wet
fire.
With it. He was still, he had just come out of it, so I understood that part.
Well, I was thinking that was going to be one of his toxic superpowers, that he was going to be able to touch people and burn the shit out of them.
I'm sure it could, right? If they would have thought about that. That sounds cool.
And then you can't have him have sex with the heroine.
But I think he has control over it emotionally, because when he boils the pool water, that's something that
he's
and when he's
human mad, so he's
urinating,
microwave.
Well, and when he's urinating, the steam's coming up around the corner.
Well, when he gets turned on, Sarah,
what are you doing
I've never felt this way before, and there's all this steam coming up. Oh boy! Yeah. This is like a perfect horror movie for an 8-year-old, even though it might be too scary. I don't know. It's
really because it's just a broad.
Look at comedy. How fucking gory it is. It's gorier than Friday the 13th. It's gorier than Texas Chainsaw. It's gory.
It's pretty fleshy too. I don't know about.
It's pretty fleshy too. This is.
So I'm like, you saw it at 9.
I saw this about 8 or 9. But this is what every American fucking boy needs to get raised.
Well, that's
fucking
what
milky white jugs and fucking.
And that's why we loved Cinemax and HBO, because the parents would go to bed at 9 o'clock. You'd get back up and watch these kind of movies because they were in bed.
I always watched the USA. I found Class of Nukem High. A lot of the Troma shit was the USA Up All Night with Rhonda Shear and Gilbert Godfrey. Oh my god,
So you just missed the boobs, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. But you still got enough of
an idea.
I like the way they do that now. Now they don't actually cut the scenes out; they just blur the boobs. So you still get the movie. Yeah. You just have blurred boobs.
It just messes you up sexually later on in life, because when a girl finally does undress in front of you, you're like, wait a minute, I can see those.
But I'm
sure they're in focus.
But I'm sure
I was turned on by this, out of focus.
This doesn't work for me. Put those away.
Too sharp.
I'm sure they do extra cuts though for shit like that. I'm sure they thought about that stuff, because it's none of those movies seem too chopped up. They all seem still pretty whoa, risque, even for
I remember watching stuff that was what in the hell? Because you could tell they were cutting around, I was 9, so
I'm still oh my god.
They do it better today. Now I watch stuff on TV and it's it's still there. They're just, blurring stuff out.
Yeah.
I had something too. Okay, wait. Okay, so Toxic Avenger. I don't know if it's too early to move into this, but spawned. So this was so successful for Troma. I want to say this was the first real Troma movie. Maybe it was the first.
Pretty kind
What
of.
did they
First
make?
successful.
Yeah, I don't know if this was before Nukem High.
Nukem High, I thought was after.
Yeah, because that was.
Yeah, that's
I
what I'm
think it
saying.
was
This
after.
might be their first, like, kind of like at least their own distributed
but
or their own produced or whatever.
I mean, I do remember at the time, like, this was a thing. And I do want to say that it came to theaters because I remember, some critic reviews of it, like maybe the weekend that it came out. So it must have been in theaters somewhere. But it was so successful that it has spawned how many sequels?
There's 4 sequels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which you made me watch at least 2 of them.
Yeah,
and they were
'cause they're
the
bad.
worst
Seen them
fucking
all.
things.
Oh,
They're
it
the
goes
worst.
downhill from
Right from the opening credits of part 2, the series goes downhill. Because part 2, as far as I understand, they were going to Japan to shoot Sergeant Kabuki Man. They're like, hey, let's make a Toxy sequel. I mean, that's how, like, we're going to be in Japan. We might as well make a Toxy sequel where he has to go to Japan to like, see, I don't know, I fucking forget. He's searching for his father.
This makes me appreciate what Roger Corman was doing. Because, I mean, Roger Corman also had, with New World Pictures?
Yeah, New World
International
Pictures.
Pictures.
Yeah, American International.
He would,
AIP.
like, I mean, I remember there were stories of, like, what was it? They had Boris Karloff for something else, and then because he was there, they said, let's write another movie to take advantage. Like, we've got him for a week, but we only need 3 days to shoot these scenes for this movie, but we got him for 5 days, so we got 2 days we can use Boris Karloff, write a movie that we can do, and they did. I think it was like The Terror or something like that, with Jack Nicholson. So, I mean, they would also turn stuff around, or like turn in a draft in a week, and we'll be shooting it the week after that, and we're shooting for 10 days, and then it'll be in theaters like, a month later.
I don't think any of them hit theaters, though.
No, they went to
it was direct, yeah. Oh, you're talking about for Corman.
Yeah, Corman.
Yeah, the back and white shit, just the driving shit.
But they were still of some. Okay, I may be talking out my ass here, but
I was gonna say, what? Some of what? There was definitely actors in those movies.
Yeah. I was gonna say there's like some quality to them, but again, I'm thinking more of like his not Lovecraft, the Edgar Allan Poe stuff.
Oh, well, that stuff's a little better than it's like Little Shop of Horror Days, where it's literally
that was like 10 days.
Well,
right?
no, they shot that in 2 days.
2 days. Are you serious?
Yeah. I'm not sure how long it took them to write it, but it's one of those things where they had the set for this movie, and they were like, well, we're going to have it for an extra 2 days. Let's write a fucking movie, Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, they were just... Yeah, that's what I appreciate about these movies. There is just a kind of an ingenuity to it, I suppose. I mean, just kind of like a fucking like going in there haphazardly, and I'm sure this is where you get like, I'm sure happy mistakes. Like if the dude that worked on Willow worked on Class of Nukem High, I'm sure just finding out mistakes on Nukem High or whatever, just all that did was bump them up to be prepared. For so there is something fun about that to me. It's like it's not necessarily cinema.
The thing that I like about I guess because we saw Monster in the Closet. I want to say was that another produced by Troma?
I was distributed. I'm pretty sure,
but it shared a similar crowd. It felt like there was a lot of people involved in both Monster in the Closet and Toxic Avenger. Like a lot. I mean, the cast in this is huge.
They got like a whole town almost.
Yeah.
Right?
And there's scenes where
you see a lot of brothers and sisters and families in the credits. There's a lot of like,
Yeah, so I mean,
3 or 4 of those days.
Like, I mean, they must have been the most popular guys in high school or something, or
Harvard.
Whatever the business was that they, were in, that they just knew all these people and could call them up. Or something, or the community actually got involved in making this.
It was back in the time.
That's how we got. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just real quick going to say that it was back in the time, like in the '80s, when you could still make a film and everybody was like, "Ooh, you're making a movie! I want to be part of that."
Well, you can't do that in California. I think people are like, "Oh, God, get."
But they weren't shooting in California.
No, right?
No, this was all New Jersey. Shot pretty much on location.
Yeah. Everybody is getting behind this because it's somebody with a camera, and everybody thinks that you say movie and you're going to be famous. Now, of course, we've kind of lost all that. But at the time, I think it was still like a really big deal to be shooting a movie.
I think you can still do that if you go to a smaller town. Now when your movie crew show up.
But if you're big enough to have
a bridge, we'll shut it down for you. But I think because I think there's so much of that going on, and like in Hollywood or whatever, that they're, you know, we need to shut down this bridge. Not again.
They're like
Bastard.
they moved there. They knew what
We'll
they
do
were
it
doing.
if you give us X, Y, and Z. Whereas like little towns would be like, well, whatever you want, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
But it has that sense of community spirit to it. You know, it's like it seems like there's a lot of people enthusiastically like supporting this movie.
Yeah.
It's not like you know, it's almost like the people who nowadays would support a movie on Kickstarter are actually like there in the movie. The Toxic Avenger.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going to say. I mean, we had that when they made the original Night of the Living Dead. That's almost what that was. It was just everybody they knew kind of came out, got involved with the film.
Yeah.
And that's, like you said, one of the happy accidents that you get.
I suppose that Dawn of the Dead was kind of that, because that had like a large cast.
Yeah.
That was all like, you know, everybody was like, yeah, we're doing, George Romero's doing another zombie
And
movie.
Tom's back from Vietnam, so let's go. He'll paint them blue and off we go.
Paint 'em blue. That's what they look like. I was over there.
Yeah. So I mean, I like that kind of facet of, you know, that kind of filmmaking. I think it is like, you know, there is a lot of ingenuity called for, you know, but they don't. It's not like they're like, man, we have to pull this off, and if this isn't like good, we're going to cut it out. It's like we try to pull this off, and if we don't, we're leaving it in. You know, I mean,
Yeah, because like we only got so much film, you know.
What goes along with that is everybody's so gung ho to do you know, everything, that you get a lot of these action sequences that do not seem safe.
Oh, yeah, like you were talking about the stunts in the movie. There's, Colin, you brought up, there's people walking around with cars flipping over down hills.
Right.
Yeah. What was that one? I remember just thinking,
When
like,
the car caught on fire.
there's a car that goes over like a
He was
hill.
probably a crew
That's
man.
Toxy and Bozo.
In the background of this shot, you're looking down a hill, and I can see on a path there's like pedestrians. I'm like, it doesn't look like those pedestrians
There was one guy.
are aware.
That they're shooting a movie.
I'm sure he was the photographer for the movie, just down there getting an angle. I bet. Because I mean, come on, they're you know, I can't
Even
imagine
when
they'd
we
be
were
so
watching it.
reckless. Like, oh, oops, hey, watch out for that burning car.
No, don't worry, man. Because it's like we don't want to pay any permits, right?
Right.
So we're just gonna do it. No, just send it over, and we'll blow it up. Then we'll.
I don't think that this
And,
was
like,
like
let's do
very
it fast.
illegal. I don't know. I think they had permits and shit for this. I think so. I could be wrong.
That toxic waste dump actually looks like it was like not a toxic dump, but a dump. They like spray painted the toxic symbol on a couple of barrels, but it,
Yeah, the wrong color, but yeah.
Yeah, it was just like, we're just gonna go and grab this. We're just gonna go and grab it. Go and grab it.
Well, and that was, at that time, that was a big thing, was the illegal dumping of toxic waste all over the country. Now, granted, they didn't drive around with open barrels with bubbling goo on top of them, but...
While they're doing the speedballs and whatever else in the front seat.
Yeah. Well, yeah, those guys were snorting whole bags of whatever, baby powder, or supposed to be cocaine, whatever it was,
right.
but yeah. And just happened to part, opportunely.
Yeah.
Well, Toxic Avenger spawned 4 sequels, you're saying? Or it's 4 total?
Yeah, 4
3 sequels.
Yeah, 3 sequels.
And a Saturday morning cartoon show.
Yeah.
Called the
Toxic Crusaders.
Okay, explain this to me. How did this come about?
I have no idea.
A lot less splatter in those.
How do you go from like this?
I think they just had
R-rated movie to Saturday morning.
Well, I would have to know a little bit more about the cartoons, but this is my fucking guesstimate. This is my best guesstimate. I might not be that off. I can only imagine that these either television studios or these animation studios were probably getting like government money to have positive message shows. So I think that's where you get your Captain Planet, you get your Toxic Crusade. I think if you have a environmental whatever, you probably got some extra shit. So they're probably like, hey, because I don't fucking...
How do you go from the Toxic Avenger to...
Well, but it wasn't until...
I think they just took the word toxic, like you're saying, and then we're going to clean up toxic waste, not kill bad guys
really,
with mops.
Yeah.
If this was like
you never
80...
saw any of the episodes.
But if this was like... Well, no, fuck yeah. I did. Come on, for sure.
That came like...
There was even a
later,
cartoon movie. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That was like more 90s. So if this was like 84, 85-ish...
It
you
took
know,
a while for it to be kid.
It kind of like, you know, I'm sure they had to like
figures.
But I'm sure it built up. Yeah, there was action figures for the Toxic Crusader, dude. I mean, dude, Toxic Crusader was a damn thing.
But yeah, it is a message that everyone can get behind. It's a positive message. It's just wrapped in this rated R film, you know.
Yeah, it's very funny,
but
right?
I don't think that it was the point of the movie.
No, it definitely was.
It's more the point. In the movie, it's kind of there as like satire, but I don't know if it's like this movie, like the point of this movie is to get, you know, some legislation passed.
Well, no, this is not propaganda.
Right. No, this is like, it's there as like...
But no, but it was definitely like, because like the few interviews I've seen of these guys, they do talk about how when they were first deciding what to write about and what to whatever, I mean, they went right to the headlines, you know, they found about the toxic... Oh, excuse me, the toxic waste dumping and in Class of Nukem Heights, how close in proximity they build the nuclear power plants to the schools and the whatever.
And the
so
leaking pipes.
You know, so yeah, they're not like jamming it down your throat, but it's like I think they are very like you know,
yeah. I mean,
not as like not like George Romero, like you know,
love zombie movies.
He has a shopping bag on his wrist because he's a consumer. You know, it's not so fucking blatant and so like
we're zombies already going to the mall. I do remember working in a video store one day. It was hilarious to me, and I was there with like somebody else, and you know, it was time to open. Open at like 9 o'clock in the morning. A big glass. The whole front of the store was glass. We were at a strip mall, and you could see out, you know, the parking lot. And I remember, like, you know, opening the store, turn the lights on, and we're sitting there waiting, and you just see like these cars pull up, like all about at the same time. It was maybe 4 cars. People get out, so they're tired or whatever. It's like 9 o'clock in the morning. And so they're all just kind of stumbling toward the door. You know what I mean? It was that zombie walk. And I look out there and I'm like, holy crap, it's Night of the Living Dead. And
it's happening.
Like, started cracking up. Because that's, I mean, it was like, we have to get in. We have
Must
to
consume.
have what we have.
Get
You know, I mean, it was, seriously, it was that shot. It was fantastic.
Oh yeah, I live in an apartment complex, and every single day I see a zombie. I swear to you, somebody walking around that place that is a zombie for sure.
Well, and George, like you were talking about with George and the way he did the movies, each one is an indictment about something.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, the racial inequality, I think, is part of what was going on with Night of the Living Dead. Then you had Dawn of the Dead, of course, the consumerism, and it just went on. And I love George Romero, but after a while, I'm like, George, stop. By the time we made it to Land of the Dead and then Survival of the Dead, I'm like, okay, now we understand it's about, you know, immigration.
Because it's not fun if you fucking make it too serious and ram it down your throat, like, you know, they're obviously immigrants that you won't accept into your country. You know, it's just like, Jesus. Can't we just have fun with some killer fucking clowns or something?
I think you get the killer stuff all over the place. I actually like it when there is a filmmaker who does have, you know, like a point of view like that, you know, when they're doing it. I mean, if it's too transparent, well, that's why I love horror movies, I guess. Horror movies, if you made a movie actually about, like, immigration, I may have less interest in seeing it. But if it's a zombie movie with a message that is parallel to, you know...
Or something.
Yeah, it's in disguise as satire, then I'm more apt to see it and more entertained by it.
Yeah, so and I still get the same message. I feel like you do. I mean, like you said, it's not rammed down your throat. You don't feel like you're watching a fucking PSA.
But did they pull it off with Toxy?
I think they do. I really do.
To a degree, they do. Yeah.
I think they really, because, I mean, they're constantly pulling in on the, you know, all this toxic dump and stuff. I mean, like I said, they're not being fucking poets about it. They just have characters literally saying, like, it's bad. Oh, it's so bad. And then they got other characters saying, like, yeah, we'll just move it. You know, they're just these I mean, every bad guy scene really is just like, we got the money, let's do this thing.
Well, that's the other aspect. There's the social thing of the toxic waste disposal, but there's also the social issue of completely apathetic, you know, citizenry. You know, I mean, like the people who are, I mean, they're basically all little sociopaths running around, right? For their own amusement, they're torturing, like, everyone around them.
Well, those are just all health club people, though. You got to imagine, everybody in a health club only cares about their self-image.
Or whatever, the guys
but
who break into the taco stand.
Yeah, they're the bad guys.
Yeah,
Like I said, it's not the whole town. It's not like all the people in the taco fucking restaurant are like,
well, you gotta
stick it in the baby's face, you know?
Yeah, well, you gotta have victims. So.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they were all the kids and all, it was all the youth, man. The youth were the only righteous. Everybody that was old.
What? I thought it was the youth. Was the extension of?
Well, he's talking about the small kids.
Yeah, they're all little
kids.
Right? You got that one cop. You got the one cop. The one I forget his name.
The Irish cop,
Clancy or something like that. I don't think I'll take the money.
Consistent accent.
Yeah, no, he does definitely.
As an Irishman, I'm gonna guess that's fake.
Yeah, right. We'll give it to. We don't know what order they shot this in. Maybe he didn't know on the day.
I'm supposed to be Irish. Here's my.
I'm sorry. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Just I had little things that entertained me throughout the movie. Like as I'm watching, I coined my own phrase, which is crap foo, which is what everybody in that town knew was crap foo. That was some of the worst kung fu fighting I've ever seen. But
you guys,
it was.
I swear.
Well, no, I'm not saying it wasn't entertaining.
I was actually going to say, it's like, dude, the guy was pretty good with nunchucks and with the sword.
Well,
he was pretty goddamn good.
But luckily for us, they put the samurai swords under the sombrero at the taco joint. Now we know why they were there. Yeah.
I think that's the funniest thing about this whole movie is fucking the two cross samurai swords with the sombrero. It's like, what? It's like it would have been funny if they would have explained that place as a sushi slash Mexican.
It was called the Mexican place.
The
Mexican place. Yeah.
And I like that song. The song during the Mexican place is just some like "eat it" or so. It just keeps on repeating "eat it" or whatever. I thought it was fun.
Well, yeah, it's talking about silly points. I love it at the end when the cop's like, "Oh man, first day on the job and I'm already hunting monsters."
Oh my god, I'm chasing monsters.
It's the monster right there, and he's got a bimbo with him.
Yeah, he's got a bimbo.
Shit, there ain't nothing out here but a bunch of mosquitoes bite my asshole. Like, I think some of the actors in this are really good.
I didn't come out here to have mosquitoes bite my fucking asshole.
And the best thing about Tromaville is the police department has no dress code, no guidelines on anything. I mean, long hair, beards, we don't care. Yeah. None of them wear T-shirts under their uniform. It's Johnny Sizzle chest everywhere. Yeah. It's like, put your chest hair away or put a gold medallion on. One of the two.
And the mayor sweating out of his shit.
Oh,
but
God, yeah.
Also, I think, Travis, you were right, because early on you were saying that you didn't think that the point of, like the mayor being behind some of the underhanded stuff that was going on was being conveyed through the story. It's not, and I don't think it is, but I mean, by the end you get it. But I think it would be a richer story had they been able to hey, this is what's going on. Follow this story.
There's only like 2 or 3 scenes where the guy that owns the health club's like, here's the funds from the drug department, after you see him selling syringes to a girl. Yeah. At the beginning of the movie, they try to cut in him getting the massage again. That actually is later in the movie, I think, just to establish a little bit more that the mayor goes there constantly, like has his own little like private room or something like that, right?
On the massage table with the sub sandwich laid out.
Yeah, because they have that scene 2 times. Yeah. At the very beginning, during the credits.
But it doesn't show his face, it just shows the side of his head and that.
Yeah, and it shows like his belly or whatever, just to establish that he goes there. Right. And then it goes back there later just to establish that, like, you just know that all the drug dealers and everything is surrounding this mayor. Then you got the vague statements by Cigar Face that's like, our boss, the boss. And then as the monsters die, you just always go back to the mayor people and the people talking to the mayor, just, like how this is going to mess up their funds. I like that. I mean, that the same actor that plays Mayor Belgoody in this plays the like safety or the head dude at the
in Class of Nukem.
At the power plant in Nukem High. This guy plays such a cool sleazy, just the idea that he's so obese. He just has this sleazy way of like just being so fucking corrupt, And he's not really a bad actor. I don't think he's a bad actor. Well, he's not fantastic. He doesn't need to be fantastic, but I don't think he's a bad actor. He delivers all his lines.
Well, there was times where it looked like when they showed him as the boss, he's dressed dark, looks more confident, more angry. But then when he's the mayor, so I almost thought for a while they were going to try and go, this is like the mayor's brother or something. I thought they were going to pull that angle for a little bit the first time I saw it.
Like the twins.
Yeah, because he does have a different mannerism when they show him as the boss. He's in the dark shirt. You know, he doesn't have the the look of the sweat stain all down the front of him. So he looks a little more confident as the boss than he does as the mayor. And I thought they were going to go something different with it, but then he wound up being the same person.
What was that phone call conversation when he was talking to the governor.
The governor.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, yeah, that's what I was thinking, too.
Yeah, alive.
Alive, yeah.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Oh, yeah, send in the National Guard, yeah.
I love this scene where, I mean, it's one of those, like, I don't know why, this is like a little piece of, like, I don't know, a little piece of, like, humanity in the film that I find where when all the reporters are asking the mayor what they're going to do with the monster, and they're like, what are they going to do with him? And he's like, it's not a him, it's an it, and you kill an it. You know, I just like that idea that, we're not willing. I mean, once again, going back to the fucking, like, 40s of monster movies, the idea that you're not willing to understand something, so you just fucking, you're just going to attack it, instead of even trying to, like, whatever.
What man
like
doesn't understand, he destroys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, plus dude just does know that, like, no, this thing's killing bad guys and we're
my
bad.
guys. Yeah.
As long as he doesn't, we got to kill this thing before it kills us.
But, so maybe I missed this, but, the only reason why the Toxic Avenger killed the innocent woman was so that the town would turn on him, right?
Oh, no, you went to the bathroom, dude.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
She was the head of, like a white slave trade or some shit like that.
With a police record a mile long.
Yeah, she's just...
okay. Wow, I totally missed that.
That's my favorite scene, man, where it's like, she's so kind of sweet as pie, where her name's Mrs. Haskell for one fucking thing. And, she has her thing about the boys' stains on the pants, the funny cum joke,
Right. Gotta have that.
But I like how, like, the dude, like, leaves, and then Toxic Avenger, like, fucking just shoves the back of her head like it's a 1930s movie or something like that. Shoves the back of her, she's like, hey, what's the big idea? I love how her fucking mannerisms just like, she turned into a little fucking bitch. I mean, I thought that was awesome.
Well, and then the part where he's chasing her through the dry cleaners, and she goes through, and she comes out, and he's on the other side. She's like, what the and she cuts herself off,
That's a cool filmmaking trick, too.
Yeah, that was a cool little, like, because, I mean, shit, I'd have to look at that again. I mean, I'm sure there's some sort of a edit.
I was thinking one was fake, because you only see the back of the Toxy at one point, and then as they come over, I'm thinking, I don't know.
Well, before we get into the wrap up, I want to tell you guys at least about the Japanese cut of the Toxic Avenger. There's a Japanese cut that was released a year or two ago. Not many differences, except for longer sex scenes. Imagine that.
Really?
Yeah, longer sex scenes.
Like ridiculously longer? Or like
okay, the first one is not ridiculously long. When it's Slug and the brunette having sex, that's definitely fucking longer. Definitely longer. But it's not whatever. But when Toxy's just having sex with Sarah, and it's the whole like Toxy must have like a penis hole or something like that.
Because he's wearing his pants.
He's just wearing his pants, going to town on her. Like, it's one of those things like you don't think about. We're not going to make Toxic Avenger butt makeup, so we'll just deal with it this way. But that scene is really long, like uncomfortably long. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, there's not much happening here, Japanese people. Like, I'm surprised. But what is different, and once again, it goes against the Toxic Avenger having to obey his traumatons, is the two girls actually survive the attacks by Toxy in the Japanese version, which I'm sure you can see on the deleted scenes here, where the girl, the brunette he made sit on the hot rocks, she just has like a bandage on her ass, like a big, like kind of almost pillow-sized bandage on her ass.
Yeah.
And the blonde girl has her hair, all her hair cut off, so she's got a bandage on her head, so the idea was Toxy just fucking scalped her, I guess. But yeah, there is a scene where they come back at the end,
Because they never do show what happened to her.
They just show, like...
Yeah, he's got the scissors.
You imagine he stabs her or something.
I was actually kind of disappointed by that. I'm like, you so graphic detail in the murders of everyone else. What happened to her?
That makes sense, because he takes away the beauty in them, right?
Yeah, he takes away, Let that be a lesson for you, hot ass.
That was actually one of the things that bothered me is obviously that's Julie's first time in the club because when she's running away, she runs into the one place she cannot get out of.
Yeah.
You know,
which is very Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah. I mean, you've got for a while, I'm like,
I was gonna say, I'm sure the
boiler room.
Yeah. And she pulled that thing open. The rats with the red eyes are in there, and
yeah.
I'd have to say that's the only time that actress did like a great job, besides like just taking her shirt up or down or whatever.
She likes her,
and most of it was ADR.
Shirt off or down.
Most of it was
tanning, man. Like, I can't get over that because when the women, I don't know if it was just the 80s or what, but like they were so tan.
Oh, it was
that
the 80s.
When they take their tops off, you just get this definite white.
Oh yeah, baby.
Like, it's too much.
Well, yeah. Now they go to tanning booths so you don't get the tanning line.
Yeah, or it seems like they're more pale. Like you get more of a milky white.
Well, that's because
milky white.
Think of it like a steak. You burnt the outside, but you left the inside raw. That's basically what you've done because they stayed out in the sun.
Like I said, I don't blame Toxy, man.
I love the 80s.
If I was Melvin, I'd be right there. I'd be like, oh shit, you're into me wearing this pink tutu? All right, baby.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, Melvin come dancing out. He was a happy man.
Well, shit, I'd be too, man.
He liked his pink.
I like that she gave him something. You know, she did take the top off.
Gave him a little something. Had to get because he was like, I ain't wearing the sissy stuff, you know.
Right.
I had to give him incentive, and got it.
He got it
for me. Should we wrap it?
Wrap
it up.
Wrap it with Brent.
Yeah. Oh, that's me, isn't it? Hello.
I will be Brent this evening.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So this is the first time I've ever seen Toxic Avenger.
What?
Believe it or not. I don't know how it missed my my radar, but yeah, I would say. I kind of, so we had seen Monster in My Closet, so I kind of know what I'm getting into with the Troma. I don't have a lot of experience with Troma films.
You don't need one.
But
there's one other one I'd show you, for sure.
There's no player's guide for this one.
While watching this one, there was an appreciation that I had for the enthusiasm in this film. Like, everybody, I think, making this film, whether they're getting paid or not, I don't know, but they felt like they were making like something, you know, like something great. Like, I feel like they were like, oh yeah, this is gonna be the best monster movie ever, you know, better than those Universal monsters. We're gonna do the Toxic Avenger, and I think that comes across, yeah. No ED.
Across.
I just got accosted for that recently. No. Okay. Anyhow.
Grammar Nazis.
I think it comes
lay down on the couch after that.
I think it comes across as a it's a film unlike the cynical Sharknadoes and all that stuff where they're like, we're making this thing to be ironic. It feels like this film they were really trying to do something, and they were working on a budget and they were pushing the limits to what they could do with that budget, and the sky was the limit, and I don't think they achieved it by any means, but at the same time I think that enough fun came from that to where you can enjoy watching this film, even, you know, it's been 30 years or whatever since. It's still a lot of fun to watch. And yeah, they're pushing those limits with the morality of the film, but it's you know, the gun thing and the shooting the dog. I did call it. This was shot on film, right?
Yeah, shot on film.
Sorry. But I would definitely recommend it. I think that I can get over the little hurdles that I had with it. It's by no means, it's a film, but it's not like a film. You know, it's not a Siskel and Ebert.
It's not a film. It was shot on it.
It was, yeah, it was. But it's worth your 87 minutes. So you should probably go check it out.
Okay, I like Toxic Avenger. I always have. But to me, I like it for the fact that it's unapologetic trash cinema. And that's they do not care. It's there to have fun. Like you said, the actors are over the top. Everybody's like, it's almost like the Charlton Heston, you blew it up. Damn you blew it. You know, they bring that kind of level to it. And it's like, really? For that line? That's what you brought to it? But I did enjoy it. I mean, you know, the special effects. are cool at times. There are other times it's just cheesy garbage. But I mean, some of them are really cool special effects, like the kid getting run over with the car. That was a really cool effect. Some of Toxy's transformations, those I enjoyed. I do only recommend the first Toxic Avenger because if you watch the rest of them, it is like being in a semi truck going down a grade without brakes. You want to jump out, but you might as well just stay and see how it ends because that's the only thing. Because I did watch all of them, and the first one's good, but it does get progressively worse, much like a staph infection. So don't do it. But again, it was a fun movie. It had its little messages. We've talked about that, about the toxic waste. I think it dealt with bullying quite a bit. The thing about the positive, body image. And then you got people in there that just wouldn't have it, like the heavyset girl. She's in there, right. And the two gay guys. They were over the top gay guys. But
I'm sorry, but check this out. As long as they're in the program with them,
right,
they're accepted by it. As long as, even though they're fat or they're whatever, as long as they're still as egotistical and body conscious, it's cool that they hang out with those people. They just have to be just as fucked up or whatever.
Well, and they did show that. They showed the heavyset girl, and she's leaning and talking to these two, handsome guys, and they're just like, normally they'd be walking away. They'd have treated her like everyone else treated Melvin in reality. But like you said, she's part of the program, so she can get the ride. Like I said, it's not a great movie, as far as if you're looking for, classic horror, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, go on, have a couple beers, have some friends around, because that's what I enjoy is when you watch it tonight. Watching it by yourself, you'd be like halfway through, you're like, yeah, I'm going to go to sleep now. But, but when you got your friends there, it's fun, because everybody can sit and kind of have a little chuckle at the screen and discuss it. So, again, it always makes me feel sad when I say this. I remember seeing this like when it first came out. So, but I was probably, I would have been 17 at the time. It's like, oh my God, yeah. But and these were the movies they were making then, that were going over the top. They were still making some. Theater? No. I got it on VHS and brought it home to my VHS machine. But
call there.
I am your VHS machine.
But so. They were putting out good horror movies, but this is, like I said, this was just one that went over the top. They didn't care, and they've kept on doing it with Class of Nukem High. Sergeant Kabuki, man, I like that one, but they never have apologized, and they're still doing it. Tales from the Crapper. It's like, oh, what a horrible piece of garbage, but they have so much fun doing it. And Lloyd isn't. He's like the Stan Lee of crappy horror films that he dragged you along. You're part of the club, and I think that does get a little infectious.
That's the trauma. You're a fucking whatever you want.
You're one of us.
A traumite.
Yeah.
What would you call it?
Trauma.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Traumite. Whatever the fuck.
Traumatized is what you usually wind up being.
It is. It's a club. It's a funny joke that you're all in on the joke.
And that's what Stan Lee did with Marvel.
Stupid it is. You're just like, oh man, the tits blew up or whatever the fuck. Just whatever extreme bullshit.
Well, and they know exactly what to do. They've got the comedy aspects, then the stuff for the stoners. They got everybody's getting a little high, like you said, and then you've got. You want to get the teenage boys? Well, we've got that. We'll drop these tops and we're in. Yeah. So, and I think they hit their target audience, who they're looking for. I think they're hitting. They're not looking for Siskel and Ebert. They know they're not going to get them. But, Rhonda Shear may show our movie. So there you go.
Yeah.
But I do recommend Toxic Avenger, and that's it for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think for sure that Troma is hitting its audience. I mean, as evidenced by the success. I mean, the fact that we know that the Troma brand, it's just they aim so low. I mean, their strength is in their marketing more than it is in their movies. I mean, if we're talking about maybe people have heard of Toxic Avenger. Maybe people have heard of Class Nukem High. That's pretty much, I think, as far as most people go.
Do you think though that they're aiming low, or that their skill set is just low?
Well, yeah, okay. It's lazy filmmaking. I think it's a lot of effort in the promotion, and the club mentality of Troma. They've fostered that. I think. I mean, they go the extra mile when it comes to the special features and stuff like that on their discs. I mean. They're doing it that way. but it's like their movies are just, it's a bunch of people just fucking off, you know, or just, you know, like, whatever, it doesn't matter, let's just do it, blah, 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 blah. And so it's, I mean, you know, you mentioned Sharknado earlier, because I'm like, of the movies we watch in the Freak Show, it's like, this is in line with Monster in the Closet, Return of the Killer Tomatoes, and Sharknado, and Cannibal the Musical. They don't feel like movies to me. They feel like these are just people like fucking around and making these things. My experience with this was Travis at one point made me watch, I think, the first 3 Toxic Avenger movies in one night. We sat here and watched them. And I remember being like, oh God, this is going to suck worse than anything's ever sucked before. And I watched Toxic Avenger and I'm like, it wasn't as bad as I thought. It was funny and some of the jokes were good. And then like Toxic Avenger 2, I like the way Gary like charitably says they get progressively worse. I thought it was like a fucking cliff.
It
like,
is
it
a
went
drop
from,
off.
like, from the first one to like, oh my God, this is what I was afraid of. Toxic Avenger 2.
I only said that because Lloyd is my friend.
Well,
That's
it fucking
all.
literally, I mean, it literally goes from makeup effects to like a rubber mask. I mean,
Yeah.
from one movie to the next, it's just like, God damn, they didn't even like try.
So let me try and get you in my frame of mind then. So this may not be entirely fair. I'm giving you that now because
Yeah, think of Chillerama when you give your review.
I've been thinking about that all night long. Actually, it's like, how am I going to justify what I'm about to say when I like a movie like Chillerama? But I saw the Toxic Avenger as part of this 3 marathon, set with Travis. I had seen it before that, but it was like 20 years earlier.
I'm sure we did this.
And I don't remember. So I'm like, it wasn't that bad. Toxic Avenger. So I'm like, he's like going to play it tonight. I'm like, okay. I had a really late night last night. I fell asleep through part of the movie. I think I was struggling to stay awake. So the comedy wasn't working like at all. And I'm like, I fucking hate this movie. I fucking hate it. I just wanted to be over. It's wasting my time. I just wanted to be doing anything else but watching it. So tonight I had a really negative experience with the Toxic Avenger. But I'm saying that it's based on my frame of mind, not the movie itself. So I can't say I'd recommend it based on what I saw or the way I experienced it tonight, but I may have recommended it the last time I saw it. So, again, I think it's a tolerance, and it's basically a tolerance for this type of, we're just goofing off kind of movie. And, yeah, if you're in that club or not, I guess. I don't know. Tonight I was not. Unfortunately, I did not partake in the festivities.
Your membership was
revoked. Shut out, and it was not for me. And I was sitting there, and I just wanted to leave.
I appreciate your honesty. Very honest.
I've always given Colin crap about liking, because, movies like Chillerama, where it's like, dude, it has the exact same sensibilities as this movie.
It's crass and gross.
And I would say even worse than this fucking movie. I would say written worse. Like, if you just look at like what's said, the acting, I would say I like Toxic more than Chiller. It's just the idea that like Hobo with a Shotgun and Chillerama look better. They're photographed better, just because it's a little easier, I think, to photograph nowadays than it was back in.
It's not even that. I don't think it's entirely that. But I can't articulate it right now. It's your.
Because, I mean, I've never been a huge fan of this weird type of comedy or this trashy cinema. I mean, I do like my few Troma movies that I like, just because, hey, if you like weird cult movies, I think you're gonna like a Troma movie or two. They're just gonna be in there. You're hoity-toity. And
I like my shitty movies, sir. There's no Troma movie that I like. Not a single goddamn one.
That's crazy. But I think it's because the photography. I really think it's because obviously with Hobo with a Shotgun and Chillerama, I don't think it's the type of extreme humor, the extreme goofiness. I really think it's the photography that really gets you out of these movies.
Maybe.
But that's just my own, I'm actually reviewing Colin and not the movie.
Lay back on the couch and let me finish that.
Colin's problem with watching a movie. So, I've always loved this because, like I said, they took 2 of my favorite fucking things as a child and put them together. Superheroes and slasher movies, I had, I had a slasher movie. They pick on the boy till he like commits suicide or kills himself. Then we had a superhero's first night out beating up the bad guys. Then we had a POV chasing down somebody and killing them or whatever. It's like I just loved how this movie as a kid went superhero. Plus it was like, holy shit, I mean, come on, this has to be one of the first anti-heroes of like a superhero genre, this fucking superhero that just has no problem ripping off Army way before Spawn or the Darkness,
the next one.
all that shit. But it's like Toxic Avenger was doing that shit in the 80s, making bizarre fucking like...
the Universal monsters? Or at least Frankenstein, was he...
not like a superhero, though. I'm talking more superheroes.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Toxic Avenger, I mean, that's what's so funny about it. It's like, Toxic Avenger, he's one of those few things we always talk about, plays in both worlds. Just like Terminator, Aliens, Predator, Ghostbusters, they were, just these movies that were also able to come over into the comic book world, and, these characters are just as fucking usable almost in any medium. I'm sure maybe a novel won't be great at the Toxic Avenger, but, cartoon, comic book, movie, you could just do a lot with these, with these guys, And, well, I've always loved, I swear to God, look at my movie collection. It's all special effects, No matter, it's like, well, these are kind of good special effects. These are kind of not, but they were Italian in the 70s, and they, it's like, so, I mean, that's just, of course, another thing with me, where just the idea of, seeing special effects at a kind of a young, I mean, I'd say a young age. I mean, 84, who the fuck besides, like, Savini or Baker were really doing like good stuff? I mean, shit, if it wasn't Savini and Baker, it was pretty much shit, or Stan Winston or whatever.
There was Manimal on TV, man, with the air bladder.
Yeah, that's how they got the air bladder.
Wait, aren't they making a movie out of that now?
Oh, Will Ferrell. No, Will Ferrell bought the rights. I'm sure it will.
Make a joke movie out of it.
I'm sure. Well, come on, it sounds pretty good, like a joke movie.
I used to watch that show religiously.
Whoa, crazy. So so I will always love this movie. I think this movie gets better the more you watch it, because you can look at what's going on in the background. Like you said, the fat girl leaning on the skinny guys, hitting on, shit like that, where it's just this cartoony little crap in the background. And just like, they're crazy, over exaggerated performances. Sometimes good, sometimes bad, but I think it's the mark. I love when the chicks, like, when they're looking at the picture of the dead kid, and she goes, I mean, fucking as cheesy as this sounds, she's like, this is fun. I mean, it's just so fucking like, oh my God.
That new camera brings out the red. Yeah,
dude. It's just like, I think it works for how empty they are. I'm sure that's not the point of the movie, but it just works for me. That just works for me. That's good comedy. It's good, like, it's just bullshit. That's what I'm saying. It's like, if you truly like cult, if you're truly a fan of the Freak Show, then this is a movie for you.
Amen.
If you could truly call yourself a freak. So, what are we watching next?
Oh, shit. That's Brent.
Oh, boy.
Next week, wait for it, we're going to watch Buffalo 66.
Dun, dun, dun.
Act more surprised. More surprised.
Oh, holy shit. Buffalo 66. That's the Vincent Gallo movie with Christina Ricci from like 1994.
The very one, Colin. The very one.
Crazy, I've never seen it.
You will next week.
Oh, next week, I guess.
There you go, Buffalo 66.
Till next week.
So until next week, find all of our past episodes. Go back and give a listen to like past episodes like Monster in the Closet, Cannibal the Musical, Return of the Killer Tomatoes, and Sharknado. All related to tonight's episode.
No, not Sharknado.
Totally.
They didn't have effects.
Not sure.
Yeah, totally.
Or it wasn't funny at all.
Well, maybe that was the problem. It was, I forgot to say that in my wrap-up, that basically these are movies that are trying to be bad movies. Instead of a movie that was trying to be good that was bad, it's trying to be.
Go see Sharktopus versus
Piranaconda.
Piranaconda. That's awesome. That's going to be ours.
No, it's the Tactile.
Just these titles make me want to commit suicide.
It's a Roger Corman. There's a Roger Corman.
I'm gonna go home and blow out the pilot light. And
are we just gonna have like a slow fade out from there? Just have a slow conversation fade out. Like
it's gone bad. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That is all.